planted it there to start with, but that was 17 years ago. Since then, we've grown, modified, changed. I'm still learning. I do like to let the corn that we plant in a living cover crop. I like to let it get 16, 18 inches tall. Once it starts to get over 18 inches tall, it is starting to tap into that nitrogen and start pulling nitrogen. We plant right back on the strips that co-op puts anhydrous on. And this was the first year we used AutoPath. My son got that all set up. I'm getting older where I don't want the technology. I mean, technology's good, but it clogs my brain. I let him take care of that stuff. So we plant right back on that line. So we have a kind of a clean line to plant on. So we let the cover crop grow pretty good in the corn. And what that has done is it's lowered our cost of herbicides. And I think this year, I'd have to ask him, he's hiding now, because he knew I was going to do this to him. So now I'm going to have to answer it. And I think it's, we're down to $33 or $30, $2 an acre on corn herbicide. And if you go check around, I guarantee you, it's very hard to get that low and have a clean field. Now, I'm not saying our fields are perfectly clean. They're somewhere on the edges. I get it, okay? And I know maybe out in the middle of the field there might be a water hemp coming up, something like that, but I'm okay with that. Our beans, we lowered our herbicide costs where we don't have to use a residual in the second pass. And some of our fields, first pass, the cover crop this year, because we're using a harvest seeder now, I'm getting it on a lot sooner, it's a lot taller. So we have a lot of biomass that we're dealing with. But all we did is use Roundup, burn it down, and some of them we went back in with a little bit of Liberty, and that was it. We didn't spray anymore. We didn't have to use residual on any of it. Now, there is a little bit of something coming up here, a little bit of volunteer corn might be coming up, but I'm okay with that. It's not going to hurt the yield. That's the planter that we use on the corn, very simple. We do put insecticide on in furrow with a foam because of the cover crop. We're letting it grow and get up there pretty tall, so which kind of brings in insects. And moths like to fly in there. So I guess I've tried to protect it a little bit and put a foam in there in furrow over the corn. So that's what the 3-drive system is on the plant. Beans, we have a 15-inch row, 40-foot planter, Kinsey planter. We just plant right into it. We do have a little bit of problems once in a while on the ends when the cover crop is so tall. We're laying it over. There's a lot of biomass, and that crop's trying to get up through where you drove down when you did the end, and then you came through the end turning, and you put more back down over the top of it. Now you got double biomass there. That's kind of hard for that plant to get up through. I did a little test in one of the fields. Cover crop was that tall. We took a rotary mower out and mowed some down just to see what would happen. I don't know if it made a difference or not. I don't know. I don't know if we have to wait till we get yields. I don't know if I just wasted my time. Made me feel better maybe. I don't know. So anyway, that's our operation is we plant green. And then in the corn, you get a late flush of nitrogen from that decomposing cover crop. So we're coming up to that stage now where we're going to get 10 to 15 units off of that cover crop. When we go out into the field and when we go through the field, you got to understand every acre had cover crop on it this spring. The shortest would be 18 inches tall. The tallest was over 24. Okay? It's hard to imagine that now when you're driving through because corn's up tall, beans are up good, but when you plant that, it doesn't look good. You know, I got neighbors driving by, I'm sure saying, well, that looks like crap. You know, but when we get big rains, everything's staying right where it's supposed to be. We're not losing anything. So, which then goes into We have edge of field practices, we have a wetland, a bioreactor, a saturated buffer down here. Another new thing we're gonna be doing this fall, hopefully we can get it in. Evan Brem from the Iowa Soybean Association is working on with this. We have a saturated buffer down here going along the creek. Well, it takes too much water. I mean, the volume that it's taking from 180, 90 acres. So we're gonna tie into it an oxbow. So when it comes down, it's gonna have the option to go into the saturated buffer and the oxbow before it would go over and into the creek. So I think that's, I don't know too many of those around. We're gonna, I guess learning curve is gonna be like that. But I'd like to try to get that in. And then our other project, which we'll talk about when we get down by the wetland, hydro station and a mixed waterway deal that we're going to be putting in for data. The harvest seeder, which we could go out and look at that after a bit here, is putting cover crops on. So I'm putting my cover crops on while I'm combining my cash crop at the same time. My normal schedule would be combine during the day, get up at 5:30, combine during the day, leave at 2:46, so I can get my rear end into school, because I coach football, so we can run up the gravelly path at 3:05, right? 3:05. Okay, I coached him. So don't ask him about anything about me, because he's probably a little guy better plug his ears. Might not say very nice. Anyway. So then, I rented Dan's drill for several years, and then being out there in the middle of the night, when I get home from practice, empty wagons into the bins, get in the tractor, start putting cover crop on. Go to 1 or 2 in the morning, and then it's just like Groundhog Day. Do it over again. I'm not too damn old to do that anymore. So we moved up to our planter that we plant beans with. We got different cups, so we could put cover crops on. So we could cover a lot more ground. That helped tremendously. That got me 5 years maybe. Then this came along with the Iowa Soybean Association to be able to demo the harvest seeder on the combine. And I thought, oh sweet Jesus, please, I'll do it. Anything to save time. So they were able to, Red Barn Solutions, they're out of western Iowa, came down, and I remember I was at practice when I got the phone call for them, and I know right where I was standing. This is how defining, you talk about defining moments, that was a defining moment, that thing. And I got the phone call and said that, yeah, we'd love to do it. And so then I had to beg them to put it on the corn head too, because they just want to put it on the bean head, because it's easier to take it on and off. Because if you're not going to buy it, they're taking it somewhere else to demo it. So they said, well, and this was right when harvest was starting. And they said, well, yeah, okay, we'll do it. They came down with a flatbed trailer. I had my corn head on its trailer. We backed it up on a trailer, and they took it 3.5 hours west and had it back to me in 7 days. Now, when you go out and look at that head, the integral bending of the pipes to get it where you want the cover crop delivered, that seed, which is in the front of the snoot. There's a lot of moving parts in those heads. That's all hand bent. It's not just comes from a factory line and you put it in. So that was nice of them to do that. It isn't cheap, but once I used it, and after the first 2 fields, and I went back, I kept thinking in my head, I gotta get this planted. Wait a minute, it's already done. And that first year, we didn't have rain for 62 days. Amen. And I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be a disaster. I've got seed laying out there in the field. What's going to happen? And then all of a sudden we got some rain, and within 4 days, popped right up. Unbelievable. So I bought it, and we use that now. The time that saves me, I can't even, there's no price on it. I'm in the house by 10 o'clock. I don't know if my wife enjoys that. But then I spend more time with football and get cranky. So, but it is such a time saver. So we can go out there and you can take a look at some of that stuff. I didn't at the beginning, which I should have at the very beginning. I know Vanya mentioned about putting something on like this and stuff. We are literally on a working farm, okay? This shop is the cleanest it's going to be the rest of the year, just so you know, okay? We don't stop. We're moving. Just yesterday, and this was, I don't know how this happened. Well, I know, because I had a cow had twins yesterday. We're trying to put a grain bin up over there. I got a grain back that's broke, trying to get parts. We're trying to get this done. I'm trying to make things look good so people see, oh, he takes care of his stuff and all this stuff. So there's a lot of crap going on. This is a working farm, and I want people to know that it's not a staged event. There's stuff going. I'll probably get a phone call of something eventually here. So, and now my wife, who helped me clean everything up, is standing back there going like this, which means wrap it up. And now Mary Beth is clapping because she thinks, yeah, wrap it up. So, I don't know what you want to do here. We could move outside.
Remember me from,
or if there's any questions.
Dwayne Arnold's.
Anybody have any questions? Well, we can hear in here, kind of.
I was the one who talked, you guys came up, yeah. I thought that was
Any questions?
What kind of crop are you having?
Central,
We use cereal. And
Pound.
corn and beans. And I know corn is it's grass, just like corn. So people get nervous about that. I'm not. This year, Mother Nature dictates a lot of what we do. And this year, with the way the rain came. Normally, the reason why I went planting green is I didn't want to wait 10 to 14 days, so we didn't have allelopathy going on and hurt our stand. And so I started planting green, didn't have to worry about that. Once that corn germinates, so if you're planting when it's warm enough, not a little cooler in the cover crop ground, but once that kernel germinates, spray it. You're not going to hurt it. It'll be fine. So that gave me